Today on the channel, we've got a long overdue review. We've got the hardest working toy in Transformers, Studio Series 86 Commander Class Ultra Magnus, on the way I got it figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Where I got it figured, back with another Transformers Generations review. And this time we're looking at the character most near and dear to my heart, Ultra Magnus. So I got Ultra Magnus a little while ago with the help of my buddy Phil at Crossfire Collectibles. He's, highly anticipated. And of course, Phil has been trying to get me to go ahead and do the review for a while now. I had to add in all the stop motions and stuff like that, and it was kind of a daunting task, especially with all the other videos that I have to do. And because it's Ultra Magnus, I definitely wanted to make sure that he got a review worthy of the character and his place for me. So I wanted him to get essentially what I would like to call a deluxe review. We'll see how you feel about it after we're done, but that was my aim. I wanted to go all out for my boy. So Ultra Magnus on his box is battling the new Decepticons in Transformers the movie. They're trying to leave to see what they can do about Unicron. And you got your Transformers the movie here. Awesome picture of Ultra Magnus by Marcelo Mater. And he's 86, number 21 in the series. And yeah, couldn't wait to get this guy. On the top of the box, you have the Autobot shuttle blasting its way Cybertron. Transformers the movie. On the side, you got the larger picture of Ultra Magnus, who is at this point in the movie the leader of the Autobots. And you got an even larger picture of Ultra Magnus, Studio Series 86 21 Commander Class. On the bottom, you got the usual red with legalese on it. And then on the back, you got the product shots. So you got Ultra Magnus, the backdrop. Ultra Magnus leads defensive measures against the Decepticons invading Autobot City. Battle of Autobot City is the name of the backdrop. And you can see here Ultra Magnus doing a commanding pose. Comes with the Matrix leadership. Chest opens up. Has his cartoon accurate, movie accurate truck mode with a big old blast effect because he's a commander class. And works with deluxe class figures, so you can do that whole thing where cars are riding on the top of them. Transforms in 43 steps. Yeah. Of course, on all these figures, on the Studio Series 86 ones, they say big screen inspired scale detail backdrop. Funny thing about it is, we're going to find out Ultra Magnus is exactly in scale, but we'll talk about it. So we're gonna get him out and you know, put all his accessories out and see what we got. Alright, so we got Ultra Magnus out of the package. And he takes up the entire frame. It's very difficult to get them all in the shot. So I didn't put his accessories, you know, out where you can see them, but I will go over them. Obviously, he's got the missile launchers. The missiles come off. And his antenna actually came in a little bag. You have to stick the antenna on his head. You have to literally attach the antennas. He also comes with this smaller blaster. And I believe what this is supposed to be is when they crash on Junkion, he sort of pulls out a pistol-sized weapon that was on the ship. And this looks like that, even though it's larger than what it was in the movie. But I guess they didn't just want to give him his customary gun just so that people feel like they're getting something. And then, of course, it does take a blast effect. And this is one of the blast effects he comes with. Then he has this blast effect, which is the sort of commander class kind of thing to get a blast effect. Always want to be able to add more blast effects to your collection. And then, of course, his customary weapon, laser rifle. I guess that's what you want to call it. That's what they called it back in '86. Don't know what it is now. Who knows? It might be another type of ion blaster. But it too is blast effect compatible. Now I don't know. Now one thing I'll say about the blast effect compatibility on this one, on Ultra Magnus, is they gave you these little tabs. So instead of putting holes in 3mm holes in the weapons, they gave them tabs, which it's a solid weapon. I don't think it's just gonna break, but you know, you never know what could happen. So you should probably be a little careful with those. But other than that, this is pretty accurate. I could probably quibble a little bit, but it's pretty much Ultra Magnus's gun. And like I said, this one is definitely inspired by the pistol type gun he pulls out when they crash on Junkion. So as I said, the missile launchers, which of course come out, are the other two accessories, and then the missiles themselves detach. And the missile launchers themselves are dead ringers for the Masterpiece missile launchers. MP22. So, you know, this figure is effectively a smaller, more compact, better engineered version of Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, MP22, like I said. But Ultra Magnus came out in 2014, so, you know, engineering has come a long way since that point. So getting a closer up look at Ultra Magnus. He is very imposing. Get some really great detail. And I'm doing this 360, but you're going to see a 360 on Ultra Magnus here in stop motion. So we'll go ahead and cue that up. And you know, he is very good figure. It's, you know, it's already, you know, I'm super happy about it. I think the only thing I was more excited about than this figure is the Mafex Batman that I got and did the review for. You can check that out. But yeah, this guy's, you know, is great. It's a figure in a sense that I already have, but like better. And he's got all the articulation. He's got the ankle rockers, which even, you know, unfortunately the Kingdom one didn't have. It's got like permanent ankle rocker. And the ankles are permanently rocked, I guess is the best way to say that. And the, you know, I played around with them. The transformation isn't too difficult to do. He's got the accurate butt flap, which was a big deal on the Masterpiece back in the day. And he has posable fingers. Hands, so you can kind of have them giving orders or pontificating, something like that. You can point. It's very cool. And then you got the spring-loaded chest with the matrix in there. And of course the matrix is the exact same matrix you get on all the other figures. So while his chest is scaled to use the same matrix that Earthrise, Optimus, and everybody else has, and that's all good, you know, he shouldn't be quite as big as he is. Spring loaded, you just pop it back in. But yes, it's an amazing figure, amazing likeness. And you have these, you know, he has the removable joints so you can blow them up like they do in the movie, or draw and quarter them if that's your preference. And it's well documented. I'm not going to do it in the video, but it's well documented that can be done. Evan showed it off last year. I mean, it's, you know, you can do it. You can even take the arms off. You got to kind of go through some steps to do that. But again, I'm not gonna blow up Ultra Magnus. So yeah, he's really really awesome. Yeah, got a lot of posability. You can even look down. Looking down over his massive chest might be a bridge too far. And he's got some light piping in there, which you can kind of see going on. So, you know, they definitely made you a really decent action figure. And I'm gonna keep harping on the scale because he's not in scale. He's too big. But I also understand why he's too big, why he has to be too big. And that's because he also has to be able to carry 4 Autobot cars on him, you know. A gimmick from 1986 when I was like 12. I just, you know, I don't know. I just don't credibly believe that people are adults putting 4 Autobot cars on a truck, but yet they demanded that he be able to do that. But you know, what do I know? I've only been a fan of Transformers the entire 40 years. That's the basics on the action figure portion of Ultra Magnus. We're going to get into his vehicle mode, so stay tuned for that. Here's Ultra Magnus in armored transport truck mode, and I gotta say that this is the mode that it seems like they prioritized. Obviously he looks great in robot mode, but in car mode or truck mode, he is fully functional. He can carry 4 Autobot cars on him. He looks, you know, just like he did on the show. He's got his red front grille. And, you know, he definitely seems scaled for vehicle mode. As I said earlier in the video, Ultra Magnus is the hardest working toy in Transformers. He's got to have the look in robot mode. He's got to have the posability, everything you want, but he also has to be able to carry 4 cars or somebody's going to have a problem with it. And that's not even starting on, does he transform into a white Optimus or not? Obviously, this toy is going right off the animation, the movie, and then, of course, subsequently, the cartoon. But he definitely is hitting on all cylinders on that front. So you do have the working car carrier kind of ramp here, and if you want to get that religious with it, you can set his arms down to become ramps so that you can pretend the car can ride up there. You can do that, no problem. Just tab those back in, you're good to go. And you do have some turning on the cab, because on the bottom you have this sort of hinge that allows you to move the truck. And it really is, once again in this mode, it's showing how much of a scaled down version of the MP22 masterpiece figure it is. And yeah, I mean, he's great in car mode, he's great in truck mode. You can stick his guns on there. That's a little bit too out of the way for me. I don't want to store his weapons on the truck mode. It doesn't look right to me, so I won't do it. But yeah, he definitely, I'm destroying my set here. Definitely captures the the vehicle mode, which is what a lot of people want. I prioritize the robot mode, but over everything, and always. But I can appreciate a good vehicle mode too. And this is definitely that. So we're going to get Ultra Magnus transformed back into robot mode. But before we do that, we're going to we're going to demonstrate that he can carry 4 Autobot cars on him. So let me do that really quickly. So you got your blue streak. Just push them up in there. And he's in there. Follow it up with a, didn't go far enough. Follow it up with a cup. Close that up. You can put hot rod and jazz on top. And you got your 4 cars to be carried by Ultra Magnus. It looks good. Definitely not something I'm going to be doing, but you know, you can do it. He rolls well. It's a little heavy with the cars on him, but you know, no problem rolling. So there you go. That'll be your look at Ultra Magnus in truck mode. Now we will get him back into robot mode and do some comparisons in that mode. Be right back.
The Transformers will return after these messages. From the secret files of Teletran 2, Ultra Magnus is the most mature spokesman for the Autobot cause. As a soldier, he is always practical and serious.
Move out, but be careful.
And he is so loved by his fellow Autobots that Wheelie and Daniel traveled millions of miles to the Autobot Records asteroid just so they could find out Ultra Magnus's birthday. In his vehicle mode, Ultra Magnus is an armored transport truck, a machine with magnificent fighting skills. His enemies, the Decepticons, respect his courage. But most of all, they fear Ultra Magnus's spirit of self-sacrifice.
Wheelie!
He always thinks first of the welfare of his fellow Autobots and his mission.
Forget about me. The shuttle has priority. The peace conference depends on it.
Ultra Magnus.
Alright, so we're going to do the comparison stage of the video. So for comparison, I'm going to bring in some different guys. We're going to actually start with the standard bearer, in a sense, of modern generation scale. So we're going to bring in Optimus Prime, Earthrise, and as you can see, Ultra Magnus towers over Earthrise Optimus Prime, which is not correct. Next, we're going to bring in Studio Series 86 Grimlock. And as you can see, he's also out of scale. So in Transformers the movie, Grimlock was taller than Ultra Magnus. You can see this in 2 different scenes. In the scene where they go to race to the shuttles, Grimlock is much larger than Ultra Magnus. And then in the final scene of the movie, when Rodimus is addressing the crowd, Ultra Magnus and Grimlock are standing near each other. Grimlock is in dinosaur mode, but he's like way taller than Ultra Magnus. You know, he's just too big. He's not the correct size. Now, you know, again, I already explained why it's okay for the vehicle mode to do all that it does and be in scale with other vehicles. Then you have to prioritize the vehicle mode, and I get that. But there was a part of me that wanted to keep using my Kingdom Ultra Magnus as my robot mode Ultra Magnus. However, this figure is just too good to not have. You just have to live with the fact that it's just somewhat out of scale. He's a little bit taller than he's supposed to be. He's a little bit bigger than he should be. I don't even know if in another 10 years they can make him do everything that he's supposed to do, but also be in the correct scale. I don't know that that's going to happen. So for historical context, we're going to bring in my really old, original, dirty, played with, but still in great condition, G1 1986 Ultra Magnus. There's a whole long story I could tell you about how I ended up getting Ultra Magnus and him becoming pretty much my favorite character in Transformers, rivaled only by Optimus, Megatron, and Prowl. But, you know, there he is, G1 Ultra Magnus, and I'm almost embarrassed to show how dirty he is. I need to really figure out a way to clean him up. Next, we're going to bring in the even larger, can't even get him in the frame, prototype for Studio Series Ultra Magnus. That being MP22 Ultra Magnus. And while he has, you know, pretty good articulation, being for what he is, he's almost a brick compared to this Studio Series Ultra Magnus. I was thinking about doing like a in-depth comparison with the two figures to show the differences and the similarities, but honestly, you know, I don't want to do it. It's going to take up too much time. Next up, we're going to bring in a version of Ultra Magnus that is a lot of people's still kind of go-to Ultra Magnus. I don't agree with those people. But we've got Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. So again, Ultra Magnus, you know, I don't know. If they make them, I'm probably going to buy them. So, of course, I have this one. And this one is based off the IDW comics. Like this Ultra Magnus, you know, even though Combiner Wars figures skewed somewhat larger, I still felt like he was too big. And then this one doesn't even really carry other cars, not really, but you know, people love it. Of course, it had the Minimus Ambus. And you know, it's not a terrible figure. Don't just misunderstand me. And I loved Ultra Magnus in IDW. That version of Ultra Magnus was cool. I never really, though, was in love with the portrait with the head. That's always been kind of my biggest complaint with this figure. I just don't like his face. The eyes are, while Ultra Magnus does have those large eyes, they're just set weird on the figure, and so aesthetically, I just don't love it. You know, it's a decent figure, but I don't rave about it like a lot of other people do. Obviously, I bought it, but it's a really low bar when it's Ultra Magnus. Probably gonna buy it anyway. Next up, we have the version of Ultra Magnus that helped bring me back to Generations. You've got the Siege Ultra Magnus from War for Cybertron trilogy. A lot of people don't like this figure. A lot of people like the figure, but they always want to put these ridiculous leg extenders on him to make him taller. I've heard everything from he should be taller, which is not really right, to his arms are too short, to, of course, he can't carry any cars, to they don't like the Optimus Prime, inner Optimus Prime, but it's a gimmick that goes back to the beginning. And even though it goes back to the beginning, I actually prefer Ultra Magnus to not be a white Prime. I'm actually in that camp, in a sense. And finally, we have to bring in Kingdom Ultra Magnus, which is, of course, the Kingdom version of the Siege mold. It's a retool. And, you know, he's pretty cool. He looks like Ultra Magnus, which is the main thing, you know, I want. That's my main requirement. Does it look like Ultra Magnus? Does it look like whatever character? Does this character look like whatever character? That's the main requirement. So, you know, is it the best figure? Can you do a whole bunch of posing with it or whatever? Probably not. You know, but we mainly, you know, let's not kid ourselves. We mainly stand these guys on a shelf. All that said, you know, this is a great figure. And I'm going to, you know, move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Ultra Magnus 86.21. So I've ranted and raved about, you know, what I don't like about the figure. But to sum up everything else, what I do like about the figure, which is everything else, is I love this figure. Except I just feel like he's too big. But that's it. Other than that, you're not going to get a better mainline Ultra Magnus for a number of years. He is superior to all the other versions of him that are available, whether you like Kingdom or not, whether you like Siege or not, whether you like Combiner Wars or not. This is the Ultra Magnus that you need to have on your shelf. We can, you know, quibble and argue over things like scale, but the figure is unto itself a mini masterpiece figure. So, you know, scale is a perspective-based thing, so I'm not going to knock the figure for it. It's a 10 figure for me. As you already know, I put him in my top 10 Transformers list of 2023, and actually I made him the figure of 2023. I had enough time to, you know, play around with him and everything like that. And I decided that I wasn't going to let the quote-unquote improper scale damage, you know, what is otherwise a superlative, excellent figure. So that's what I got to say about that. And we're going to move on to the next video. I'm going to leave it here. What do you think about Ultra Magnus? Do you think he's in scale? Do you think this is the correct size for the character, even though there's screen evidence to show that there's not? Do you like Ultra Magnus? Do you hate Ultra Magnus? Do you think he's like a bargain basement Prime? Do you think, you know, he's the man like I do? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. In the meantime, you know, there's a lot of Transformers out. We just got a bunch. Gears, Sandstorm, Chromia, Studio Series 86 Blaster, to name a few. And all those figures will be getting reviews on the channel, so look out for those. In the meantime, everybody stay safe and I'll see you all on the next video. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, definitely like and subscribe. Got much more Transformers content coming. Hope you'll stick around. Peace.
Decepticons are attacking our launch site. Where's Prime?
He's on Cybertron. It's up to you, Ultra Magnus.
Autobots, transform and mount up!
When Ultra Magnus rolls into action, he takes on Decepticons like no one else.
The way I got it figured.